Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayasho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandaya Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Shlok 32. Yatahi avahito vanir
Yatha hi avahito vanir
darushva ek swayonishu
Arushveka Swayonishu
nanev bhati vishwatma
Naneva Bhati Vishwatma
bhuteshu cha tatha puman.
Bhuteshu cha tatha puman.
Okay, who wants to read the translation?
I can read.
Yes, Mataji.
When it is short, I can read. The Lord is a super soul, pervades all things, just as fire permeates the wood, and so he appears to be many varieties, though he is the absolute one without second.
Okay, we'll read the purport also. Somebody wants to volunteer to read the purport?
Can I do that, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by one of his plenary parts expands himself all over the material world, and his existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. Matter, antimatter, proton, neutron, etc. are all different effects of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. As from wood, fire can be manifested, or as butter can be churned out of milk, so also the presence of the Lord as Paramatma can be felt by the process of legitimate hearing and chanting of the transcendental subjects, which are especially treated in the Vedic literatures like Upanishads and Vedanta. Srimad Bhagavatam is the bona fide explanation of these Vedic literatures. The Lord can be realized through the oral reception of the transcendental message, and that is the only way to experience the transcendental subject. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. His divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood-like living entity by imparting proper spiritual messages injected through the receptive ear. Therefore, one is required to approach the proper spiritual master with receptive ears only, and thus divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between animality and humanity lies in this process only. A human being can hear properly, whereas an animal cannot. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So if somebody tells what is the difference between humans and animals, he can remember this difference. What is the difference? What is Prabhupada mentioning here? What is the difference between humanity and animality?
That the human can hear properly, whereas the animal cannot.
And what is that proper hearing?
Prabhuji, I think the human can hear and then apply, but the animal can hear, but they cannot, apply
Okay.
or differentiate which is good or not, or
So
how
here,
it should follow.
proper hearing means from whom?
Spiritual master, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that is the point here. That come in just like when we burn a wood, another fire brings about the reaction, oxidative reaction within that particular wood, and fire actually brings the properties of the wood and it causes fire also. So that propensity is already there in the firewood. It just is brought out. If you use the same fire to burn a concrete, you may not get success, or burning a stone, you may not get success, right? Because it doesn't have it permeating. But a wood has. Similarly, a non-living entity cannot understand this consciousness, or animals cannot understand. But a human, when he is brought in touch with another, divine grace, Prabhupada is saying here. So this word, his divine grace, is used for only Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON, but can also be used for one's spiritual master. But for general usage, we never use his divine grace for anybody else. Like if I have to have a senior devotee come, then I will say his grace. But his divine grace will be used for either your spiritual master or Srila Prabhupada. And in general, any sannyasis you are addressing, then what will you say to them? Are you going to say his grace or his divine grace? What are you going to say as sannyasi?
His
Divine
grace.
grace.
Huh?
Divine grace.
Okay, anybody else?
Prabhuji, what was the question
Kya
again?
question?
Question is, if a sannyasi comes who is not your spiritual master, how will you
Oh,
address that person?
okay, then
Prabhuji,
it's not divine grace. If
Let's
it's
His
not,
Holiness.
say,
sorry,
His Holiness, Prabhuji.
correct. So we are not going to say his grace or his divine grace. We are going to say his holiness. Okay.
yes. Sorry, I didn't. I missed that one part.
Yes. So his divine grace is used for whom?
It's very
Spiritual
spiritual.
master. And who in ISKCON, his divine grace, when we say, whom are we referring
Prabhupada.
to? Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada or any of his gurus. We can say for any of Prabhupada's gurus. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj, or before that, right? Like we say Srila, or we say his divine grace. And then for sannyasis, we use his holiness. Okay. So Prabhupada is mentioning by coming in touch, here it says, fire is kindled from wood by another fire. The divine consciousness of man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. His divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from firewood. Okay. All right. So matter, antimatter, proton, neutron, all these things, they also have so many things going on. Even in an atom, there is electron, you know, with full energy going around the proton and neutron. Where are they getting all these electromagnetic energy? It is actually the sources Paramatma, or the Shira Dakshay Vishnu. All right, we'll go forward. And just like, and how will we know about it? Just like normally, if you read a book, it is just, something is there, but you cannot really um, necessarily, the book may be very limited in terms of how much you can read. After some time, you will not be able to really get much out of it. But these books, which are spiritual books, they are very, very powerful. The more we read, the more we are able to understand. And when we actually have personal association, then from these books, even more and more nectar one can derive. So some devotees, you know, who are very, very steady and advanced, they are advancing because they are regularly reading. That's why they are so much advancing. And every time they are reading, they are getting more and more nectar out of it. So it's like a cycle. Once you read more, then you advance more. When you advance more, you read even more, and then when you read even more, you advance even more. So that's how it becomes. And when it is done in association and in under guidance, then we don't have a risk of getting misguided, not without misinterpreting anything. All right, we'll keep going. Anybody else wants to add any points?
So what's the summary for that one? Like, what's the summary?
The summary is that we have to associate with advanced devotees, accept a guru whom we can learn from, and then the spiritual light which is there within us, our connection with Krishna, that will get very strong, and we can actually perceive Krishna. Just like a wood coming in touch with another fire. Let's say you have a log of wood which has fire, and you bring another wood which doesn't have fire, and you bring in contact, then actually the fire is uh, is transmitted from this wood to another wood, right? Similarly, the knowledge, fire of knowledge, which is actually within us, just like the property of being burnt is there within the wood, that property is there in all of us to gain knowledge, to because that's our nature, Satchid Ananda. So full of knowledge. That is our constitutional nature. We have all the knowledge which is needed. It is just dormant. It needs to be revived. So that is what we have to do. We have to get in touch with those people who can help us out, and then accept a spiritual master who can bring this divine consciousness. Okay? Right. So go forward. Does it make sense, Isha?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to next, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.33. Any volunteers who would like to read the Sanskrit?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mark.
Asau gunmair bhaver
Aso
Asau
gunmaya
gunamaya
bhuta sukshmendriya atmabhi
bhuta suksham indriyatmibhi
swanirmiteshu nirvishto
swanirmiteshu nirvishto
bhunte bhuteshu tadgunan.
Bhunte
bhunte bhuteshu
tadgunam.
tatrunam.
Translation: the super soul enters into the bodies of the created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the subtle mind. Hare Krishna.
Mataji?
I can read more, Prabhuji.
Yes, you want to read the purport?
Purport: there are 8.4 million species of living beings, beginning from the highest intellectual being Brahma down to the insignificant ant, and all of them are enjoying the material world according to the desires of the subtle mind and gross material body. The gross material body is based on the conditions of the subtle mind, and the senses are created according to the desire of the living being. The Lord as Paramatma helps the living being to get material happiness because the living being is helpless in all respects in obtaining what he desires. He proposes and the Lord disposes. In another sense, the living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord. They are therefore one with the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, The living beings in all varieties of bodies have been claimed by the Lord as his sons. The sufferings and enjoyments of the sons are indirectly the sufferings and enjoyments of the Father. Still, the Father is not in any way affected directly by the suffering and enjoyment of the sons. He is so kind that he constantly remains with the living being as Paramatma and always tries to convert the living being towards the real happiness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, you want to share your thoughts about this?
Yes, Prabhuji. It was the beginning part of the purport was a little difficult to understand, but what I understand is that again, translations talks about Paramatma, how Paramatma is present in all the living beings, and the living beings, living entities are influenced by the three modes of material nature, and so they have to suffer or enjoy the effects caused by those modes. And in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining that how Paramatma will help to fulfill whatever desires a living entity has. So living entity cannot uh, do anything by itself. They're helpless. And so Paramatma will help to fulfill those desires. So he's quoting the famous saying that man proposes, Lord disposes. And he's the father of all living entities, so he helps them in their sufferings and enjoyments, but he does not suffer or enjoy himself. So he's not he's not affected by the three modes of material nature like the living entities. That's all I understood, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Anybody else would like to share any points from this?
Could you say like what the summary was?
All right. Anybody wants to summarize? Okay, who will tell this? This here, Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita. They are therefore one with the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, living beings in all varieties of bodies have been claimed by Lord as his sons. The sufferings and enjoyments of the sons are indirectly sufferings and enjoyment of the Father. Any quote from Bhagavad Gita you can share where Krishna says this?
Prabhuji, Navya wants to recite this one.
Yes, Navya will recite. Great.
सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तसम्भवन्ति तासां ब्रह्ममत्योनि अहं बीजप्रदपिता.
Very nice. Great. All right. So Krishna is the seed giving father of every living entity. There's another similar shloka in the 15th chapter also, where Krishna is saying that how all the living entities are my fragmental parts and parcels. 15.7 Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manashasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. So they are, here Prabhupada is saying the sufferings and enjoyment of the sons are indirectly sufferings and enjoyment of the father. And in that shloka, Krishna is saying that all these living entities are his part and parcels, and they are struggling very hard in this world with the six senses, which includes the mind. So that is going on. So coming back to Isha is asking what is the summary of this. The summary is that whatever we are doing here, each and every desire we have, it is going to be accounted for. If we have a desire to be a better person, then Paramatma within the heart will help us in becoming a better person. If we don't want to become a better person, then we may have to be in those people's association who want to be better. When we are in their association, then we'll get those desires and then we can improve. Otherwise, there's a lot of suffering. See how many people are struggling in this world, how much suffering is there. Maybe tomorrow I can show some video of different people. Just remind me of this, that people are suffering, and then maybe I'll keep the video ready for tomorrow. So anyways, the point is, animals are suffering, humans are suffering, everybody is suffering who is forgetting Krishna. And sometimes people don't even know that they are suffering. That is even worse. Those who know they are suffering, at least they'll take some steps to come out of it. And there is a chance they may take shelter of Krishna. That way they have some hope. But if everybody is thinking we are not suffering, then there is not much hope for improvement also. But those who know, yes, there is suffering, so let me take shelter of Krishna, they are actually those who are going on the right direction. So Paramatma is helping everybody, and depending upon what we are doing, he is actually reciprocating with each and everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I have one more question.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you mean by people who don't know like they're suffering? Is it just because they think they're not doing anything bad, or they're
Yeah, if you see in your school, most people, they will be thinking, oh no, we are not suffering, there is no reason for us to chant or think about Krishna, or we are very happy, we'll go for vacation or something here and there. So they think that they're going to do party, or they're going to go here and there, and they'll be very happy, but actually they can't get happiness. Real happiness means it should not be taken away from us. Real happiness means it should not depend on externals. If you are happy, then you will be happy in all circumstances. That is real happiness. That is something which people don't even know about. And that's what Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita can give us. Does that answer your question?
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to the next shloka. This is the last shloka for this chapter, I think. All right. Who wants to read the Sanskrit?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Yes, Chaitanya Prabhu.
भावयति एष सत्त्वेन
Bhavayati esha satvena
Tatvena
लोकान् वै लोकभावना
lokan vai
lokan vai
lokbhavana
loka bhavana
लीलावतारानुरतो
lila
leelavatara nurato
देवतिर्यन्नरादिषु
devateryanaradishu.
devatiryannaradishu.
In translation, thus the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men, and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. Purport by Divine Grace Prabhupada. There are innumerable material universes, and in each and every universe, there are innumerable planets inhabited by different grades of living entities in different modes of nature. The Lord, Vishnu, incarnates himself in each and every one of them and in each and every type of living society. He manifests his transcendental pastimes amongst them just to create the desire to go back to Godhead. The Lord does not change his original transcendental position, but he appears to be differently manifested according to the particular time, circumstances, and society. Should I read the next one, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, unless you want to share something.
No, okay, I'll continue. Sometimes he incarnates himself or empowers a suitable living being to act for him. But in either case, the purpose is the same. The Lord wants the suffering living beings to go back home, back to Godhead. The happiness which the living beings are hankering for is not to be found within any corner of the innumerable universes and material planets. The eternal happiness which the living being wants is obtainable in the kingdom of God. But the forgetful living beings, under the influence of the material modes, have no information of the kingdom of God. The Lord, therefore, comes to propagate the message of the kingdom of God, either personally as an incarnation or through his bona fide representative as the good Son of God. Such incarnations or sons of God are not making propaganda for going back to Godhead only within the human society. Their work is also going on in all types of societies amongst demigods and those other than human beings. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Divinity and Divine Service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Chaitanya Prabhu, you want to share your thoughts about this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I think in this verse, like it said in the translation that the Lord of the universe maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men, and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the modes of pure goodness. So what Prabhupada is describing in the purport is that there are innumerable material universes in this world. Oftentimes, our knowledge is limited, but we don't understand. And this was also displayed to Lord Brahma in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, where he thought that ours is the only universe and he is the only Brahma. But Lord Krishna showed to Lord Brahma that there are innumerable universes and innumerable Brahmas in all those universes. So, since there are innumerable universes, Lord in his form as Paramatma is manifested in each and every universe, in each and every society. And not just that, not just in each and every society, but in each and every type of living entity. Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that are not just human beings, but other beings in other forms, sort of including animals. The Lord is also present in that form and is some way the other helping to guide them back. The second part of the purport, Prabhupada describes that how Krishna as Paramatma is very eager to take these living entities back to Godhead, because he wants them to enjoy or experience the real happiness. I think Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate. He wants them to achieve a higher goal, a higher state of happiness. And that's why, even although we rejected him and we had a desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, but in form of Paramatma, he's present with each and every living entity. And time and again, he's helping them to realize and understand what our real happiness should be and to try and achieve that goal. One other shlok comes to my mind, Prabhu, from this is where in 6th chapter, Krishna says, Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Supake Cha Pandita Samadarshana. That a Pandita can see the form of Lord in each and every living entity. And that is what said in this translation, that Krishna in the form of Paramatma is present with each and every living entity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for sharing. Very, very beautiful. Very nice. Okay. Anybody else would like to share some points from this? So we did the last 3 shlokas of this chapter. Anybody would like to share anything from any of these 3 shlokas?
Yeah, I have a question for this
Yes,
shloka, shloka. So, even if we resist God and we don't accept Him, we don't surrender Him, he will still take you back if you try to go back to him, even if you rejected him one time.
Oh yeah, we all rejected. We all are rejected. So it's not a one-time thing. Every day in 24 hours, we have so many moments, and we have a choice either to accept Krishna or to reject Krishna. And most people, most of the time, they are rejecting Krishna. Sometimes we are accepting Krishna, like we come here and we all reading together, so we are accepting Krishna. Sometimes we'll be chanting, so we are accepting Krishna. But then there are so many times in the day when we have a choice whether to do some service or to do sense gratification, or to waste time, or to get distracted, or to just be lazy. And many times we are rejecting Krishna. So the more we spiritually advance, the more we realize that, oh my God, I'm rejecting Krishna so many times in a day, but still he is so merciful that he is giving me a chance on the other times. So let me grab as many opportunities as we can. So those who grab more and more opportunities of accepting Krishna rather than rejecting Krishna, they keep getting spiritually advanced. Otherwise, this is our conditioned nature. We are conditioned to think about serving the senses and not serving Krishna. Does it make sense, Isha?
Yeah, but what if you're like really, really busy and you cannot serve him? You're not
Yeah.
rejecting him, are you?
Well, you may be really, really busy, but most people are not really, really busy 24 hours. A squirrel is also busy. A rat is also busy. It depends on why we are busy, where we are busy, what we are doing. If we really, really want Krishna to be the center of our life, Krishna will give us opportunities. So if we are serious, sincere, and we want it, then we'll grab it when it comes. If our attention goes there, our energy will flow there, and we will grab such opportunities. And when we grab such opportunities, and if we are doing that, then that means we are spiritually advancing.
So like maybe exercising or doing work, you can still think of him a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
you can think of him, you can play some pictures, some kirtan, some shloka you can write, or Hare Krishna mantra you can write different places to remind you of Krishna. You can do so many things like that. Some people put Krishna's pictures in their rooms, Hare Krishna mantra in their room. So when they see it, they will remember Krishna. Does it make sense?
yeah, thank you.
And apart from that, everything we are doing, if we keep remembering singing Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and that is very nice. So if you are, coming or doing a walk or something, or coming from school to home, and then you're singing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So then your walking which becomes spiritualized. So like that, you have to see whatever you may be doing, you have to add Krishna to it. So if you're eating food and then you offer it to Krishna, it takes few minutes, and then you offer, then that is great. And sometimes if you land up in a situation where you can't offer, then pray to Krishna every time before you eat. So these are small, small things which makes us actually accept Krishna and stop rejecting Krishna. Does it make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else wants to add anything to such a beautiful question Isha is asking?
Prabhuji, can I share something?
Yes, Mataji, please.
So, Prabhuji, I was listening to a lecture of Nitai Sevni Mataji, and somebody asked a similar question, and her answer was in this way. She said that everything depends on your consciousness. So let's say you are really busy, you have some material duties like professional or school related work, homework, exercise to maintain your body, various things that you have to do in a day, but you do them very efficiently, quickly, that okay, right now I have to focus on this. I cannot, let's say I'm not able to chant, or I'm not able to think of Krishna because some work, professional duties may be such that you're just completely engaged in them. But do it with the consciousness that let me fully, wholeheartedly do this for Krishna, get this done efficiently, so that I can devote rest of my day or my time for Krishna, so that when I'm attending the class or when I'm chanting, this is not a burden on me. So even that duty will actually become Krishna conscious, because you did it with the ultimate motivation of uh, getting to Krishna faster and with more focused mind. So similarly with exercise or with anything we do to maintain our body, if we can maintain our body better, and His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj also pays stress on maintaining your body, your health, because otherwise we will not be able to chant as well if we are, if we get sick, or we are getting all kinds of diseases because we are not taking care of our body. So this is also Krishna's body, and very important to take care of it. So any duties can become Krishna conscious if we just do it with the motivation that okay, rest of the time I really want to devote to Krishna, so let's get this done properly right now, and that way I will not be worried about this when I'm chanting or when I'm reading or associating. That was her answer. Prabhuji, just wanted to add that.
Thanks, that helped a lot.
Thank you, Mataji, so nicely explaining. And actually, on the same lines which Mataji is saying, I was going to add this, that if you are chanting 2 hours of the day, or let's say whatever time you have, few minutes of the day, that can be a good beginning to give clear, direct message to Krishna. That Krishna, whichever situation I may be at, but I'm seriously wanting to serve you. That's it. So if you have 24 hours in a day and you can chant only for 20 minutes, then attentively, if you give those 20 minutes to Krishna, then that will spiritualize your whole day. And those who are chanting for 2 hours, if they attentively pay attention for those 2 hours, then that will spiritualize all that time which you cannot give to Krishna. So for example, when you are studying, now you have to focus on your study. At that time you cannot think, oh okay, I will play the kirtan or the lecture. That is not really recommended. Why? Because you have to pay attention and concentrate and focus on what you're doing when it is involving, like for example, studies, so if you're doing something with focus and attention, what you have to think is that I am a student, I have to study, and then I will study nicely, and whatever I learn, I will use it in service of Krishna. Then that will become perfect 100% Krishna conscious. All right. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. Anybody else wants to add any points? Otherwise, we'll conclude. Thank you, Isha, for asking such wonderful, wonderful, intelligent questions. Very thankful to you. All right, so we'll end here. Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pancha kalpataru bhasya kripa sindhu
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.